All right. So this is Jeremy Alessi with Midnight Status, and we're doing another Inside Hail. Today I'm honored to have David Helgason on the bridge, on the main viewer. David's been instrumental in helping me as an indie game developer to further my skills. I've used Unity on so many projects, and Unity has actually become this thing that really holds entire industries. And I'd go as far to say as it holds several industries up. So it's a great platform, and it's a great honor to get to speak with David. So how are you doing today?
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I'm great.
All right. So I was going to just kind of go over some of the history of indie
Sure.
game development. You know, I found out about indie game development through a video game magazine when I was in college. I saw something on Dark Basic, and there was this kind of chain of game engines from Dark Basic to Blitz Basic to the Torque engine with the Garage Games guys, and Unity kind of came on the scene, just kind of shortly thereafter.
Mhm.
Did you look at those other indie tools? Was that something that you looked at, or was it something that Joachim or Nicholas Francis looked at?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were aware of all the stuff that was out there, but no, I mean, we were really thinking that we were not happy with any of these tools. Otherwise, I guess we would have used them because originally we were going to make games ourselves.
Right.
But no, I mean, we felt that that we needed a better engine, something that was more powerful and easier to use and so on. So we started building our own. Initially Nicholas and Joachim got together and they invited me to be the third guy a bit later. Um, and then as we were building our engine, we sort of realized that what we had done was kind of different from how other engines were thought out. Like we started actually with the usability, with the workflow, and the simplicity of use, um, and we sort of realized that what we were. I mean, it was pretty rough back then, but it still had some kind of interesting properties, and we figured that we should actually get this out to more people. We should actually make a product of Unity, not just use it ourselves. Um, and call it youthful arrogance, but we never thought these other tools were very good. I mean, they all had their strengths, and I've learned to appreciate that. Of course, all these products had some interesting attributes and some things going for them, obviously. But in our youthful arrogance, we thought we could do this way better. And I mean, I guess we could actually, but I mean, it did take time. And what was good and important was that we focused so kind of what do you call it? We had this laser focus on making Unity extremely useful to people, and getting it out there. And we built a small and then growing community, and really listened to feedback, and just worked really hard to make it as good as it could be. And yeah, we're very proud of the results. At this point, it's some crazy numbers of people using it. Way more people than ever used any of these other tools, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'm thankful that you guys actually had
Oh,
the
thanks.
ambition to do better. I
Mm.
remember using some of those other tools, and I remember actually talking to some of the CEOs of those companies and saying, why don't you do this or do that? And when Unity came along and I looked at it, I said, that's exactly what I was looking for. I mean,
Cool.
you guys just hit it so accurately. It's really amazing. Still to this
Well, I
day,
mean,
look at it and it's, phew.
it is very awesome, but I mean, like, it also it goes a little bit with the personality of people, right? I mean, there are still people that really think Unity is not for them, and like think it's kind of shaped the wrong way for them. Um, and over the years, there's fewer and fewer of these people because we keep making it more flexible and adding awesome features and so on. But nothing is ever perfect for everybody, and we just have this ambition to try, and we keep working at it. But yeah, no, I mean, thanks for the kind words, but I'm always focused on the negatives of what I do.
Well, I think that's what makes you guys so good at what you do is that, I've heard that you guys are pretty critical of each other when you're
Oh,
working,
very
and
much so.
you have that kind of culture where you're always trying to squeeze the weakness out of the
Yeah,
product,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
which is great. So I wanted to lead actually into the asset store because I think it was around 2009. I was talking to someone, a local guy that was running a flight simulator place, and a lot of hail what we're speaking in right now actually kind of stems out of my experience back there.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and I mentioned to him at the time, hey, these Unity assets, they're going to be a big business. Somebody's going to open up a website and just crush it by selling these, because the way that Unity works is you don't load um, textures and models and things like that directly through code, and that's kind of the old way of doing things. You used to have to come up with your own structure, and you'd use the OS, Windows or Mac OS X, and you'd come up with your own directory structure and stuff. Now Unity fixed all that, and some people might say for the better, some people might say for the worse. Um,
Sure.
but it was apparent to me back then that, hey, this is going to be a big business coming up with these packages, right? Because I loved the fact that you could import and export packages from one project to the next, and
Yep.
I guess everybody was doing that before the asset store. But you guys hooked the asset store in a way that kind of like the iOS app store is hooked in. Now, is that something that you guys saw in like 2005, 2006, or did it not become like readily apparent until a little bit later?
Actually, some friends of ours told us that we had been talking about it already back in '07. And you see, like Unity launches, the first version of Unity launches in 2005, right? So already in 2007, we were thinking about it. We forgot ourselves, but we had been telling some friends. Um, it wasn't until like 2009 that we really got started on the project
Right.
properly. And it was more inspired really by the community than anything else. We saw people were selling their work on their blogs, and using PayPal and things like that, which is great. But a lot of the good stuff that was out there wasn't being found. There wasn't a central repository, and also when you buy something on the web, every seller would come up with their own license. There would be a lot of sort of variation in what you could actually do with the assets that you bought. So our idea was to really centralize a place to sell and buy assets, but also standardize them on some licenses, meaning that whatever you bought in the asset store, you knew you could use it in almost any way imaginable, except reselling the source assets or redistributing the source assets without putting them into a game or another project. And this would kind of create a liquidity and a level of trust that would boost the whole thing, and it worked. I mean, amazingly.
Yeah, phenomenal success.
Mm.
I watched. Now I was at Unite a couple years ago. Met you briefly, and
Mhm.
and then this last Unite, I watched your keynote,
Yeah.
and I think you said that people have made up to $90,000 in a single month on their
Yep.
assets on the asset store. So it's kind of a
The revenues,
fascinating thing.
the revenues of some of the top selling assets are pretty mind blowing. But actually, more importantly, I mean that's maybe outliers. You can't expect to kind of replicate that right away. But we got tens or even hundreds of people who are making several hundred or even 1,000 or a couple of $1,000s in revenues on their assets per month, and that's kind of somewhere between awesome and life changing for a lot of these people.
I know I'm
Like,
I'm one of those people. So in the last 2 months, I kind of took your advice from that keynote and tried to build some more assets,
mhm.
take advantage of the 24-hour deals that you guys do,
Oh,
and was
great,
able to was able to do that. Was able for the previous 2 months to take your advice and do that, and
fantastic.
it is life changing. It's completely life changing. Um, so. Do you think that the asset store and Unity represents a good way for people to create a new technology that's a minimum viable product that could actually grow into something larger? 'Cause that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now with this video chat.
Sure.
Maybe there's a possibility of me doing that. Would you recommend other developers that are entrepreneurs to do that?
I mean, I think it's a great way to connect with customers. It has some weaknesses, honestly. Again, you get my, my my honest view on things, right? So it's probably not perfect for the first introduction of something. I think you're probably better served with your own kind of blog or other site, where you can connect directly to the customers. Because one of the ways that we've standardized the asset store is that we actually don't let you, as a seller, spam your users. Well, the unfortunate side effect of that is that you can't also just ask them questions, right?
Yeah.
That are not spammy. And it's nice because when you go and you power shop in this asset store, you don't want to be kind of on 30 mailing lists of all kinds of people that are like, want to kind of get you to buy more of their stuff. But the negative is that, for beta program or for introducing something, you're probably better served connecting directly with people that are interested. Once you have it kind of working and it's becoming, achieving a quality that you can put it on a store shelf.
Right.
That's probably the right time to put it in the asset store. Probably not way before that.
Okay.
Because you're like, the people you connect with on your blog, you give them something in the beta, or even sell them a beta product if that's what you do. They'll be more understanding. They won't go and give you negative reviews right out of the gate and stuff like that, right? So it's actually not necessarily the right place for a minimum viable product, I would say.
Okay.
However, it's a great place to connect with a very large audience. Hundreds of thousands of people are using it.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that perspective.
Sure.
I thought that my take on it was some people might want to use it if they've got a technology or they've got an idea that they want to get out there, and they need to test the marketability of it. But I see what you're saying. You can use a blog.
I think you might be better served for that. I mean, the problem is, of course, this is the sort of problem of any entrepreneur who goes out and builds something new. It's, you put something in a blog, you get a few people interested. Does that represent market traction, or is it just those people, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's sort of the entrepreneur's dilemma always. When do you go out and, have you actually achieved, product market fit is what it's called now, or what I've learned to call it.
Product market fit. Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice term that I didn't know this when we got started, but it's a nice concept because you can sort of recognize it when when you meet a potential customer and you try to sell it to him. He kind of gets it and he wants it, and he doesn't ask any of the questions like, does it do this or that you don't have an answer to.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've sort of achieved that level of you can sell something to somebody without going in and custom fitting it for him and doing stuff like that, then that's sort of when you've achieved this product market fit, I guess.
Sure.
Once you're there, the asset store is fantastic.
Yeah. So the asset store is really for plug and play software, though, not something where people require a lot of attention and a lot of work to get it up and running.
Certainly
it's got to be polished. It's got to be polished.
Yeah, certainly not from the custom work from the sellers, because it's not a marketplace for work for hire. It's not, it's not the place where you find that. However, what's cool is actually a lot of people who sell their stuff in the asset store, on top of the revenue they gain from that, they actually get a lot of inbound interest in custom work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it also becomes that kind of, place where you can be found because you're awesome at something, whether it's, making 3D art or textures or programming. It's great for somebody who wants to find somebody to do contracts for him, to see that this person is very supportive. He seems professional. His stuff is popular. You can even look at his work. You can probably download the code and read it in many cases. So it's really awesome like that. I just I can't even express how much I love the asset store. It's so awesome.
Yeah, me either. It's the thing that Unity was already awesome, and it already empowered you in a way that other tools just hadn't done in the past. But when the asset store came around, even looking at this demo that we're in right now, so we're demoing video chat inside Hail, and this is a demo we built just to kind of show people on the asset store, hey, you could do something like this, get your imagination going. And now we want to make a full game out of it, so we're running a Kickstarter at hailgame.com, and so that's kind of part of what this is about. But in larger measure, it's about the asset store. And in this demo, we're using several things from the asset store. We're using a networking backend called Photon.
Yep.
That allowed us to easily connect without worrying about firewalls and all those types of headaches. We just went in and hit start and join, and we're in.
Fabulous.
I can look up through this window in the ceiling, and I see a great big space scene there, planets orbiting, and all those things. Those things came from the asset store.
Wow.
And so it allowed us to build out an idea to present video chat and make it pretty compelling without doing all of that work ourselves, without doing that overhead. And I think that it almost rounds out the democratization of game development. Here we are leveraging all the assets of people. It's actually leveraging the internet, and not just to write ideas and blog ideas, but to express them mechanically, which I think is really important. You know.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to put it, and I couldn't agree more.
So, I guess that that kind of wraps it up. Do you have any other thoughts on this?
No, I mean I'm just excited by the video chat. It's something that I haven't really seen in other games, and maybe nobody's done it before, as far as I know. And it's just it's compelling. I want to play games where I could do that with my friends and with other people. It just seems logical. So I really hope you put it out there. I hope your game is successful, and that other people start adopting this, because I don't know, it just feels like something that should exist. And now that you've proven that it's eminently doable in Unity, I hope it gets some pickup.
All right. Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate everything you've
No, it's
done
a
for me.
pleasure.
You have changed my
Pleasure,
life.
man.
So,
Oh, no, it's great. It's great. It's great. I mean, I don't know how many years we've known each other, but it's fantastic to see what you're doing.
yeah.
Hey, thanks again, and thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Awesome.